Your Galaxy Z Fold 8 Ultra cost more than most laptops. So why are you protecting that hinge with a case built for a regular phone? That one habit is how folds crack in under a year. We're not ranking these on drop numbers alone. We're ranking on which ones actually protect the hinge, work with the screen protector already on the phone, and don't fight your MagSafe accessories. Stick around, because the case that wins this list solves a problem the other 6 don't even attempt. Number 7. We're starting with the TORRAS Q3 Spin, and it's not a bad case. It's just outclassed by everything coming after it. The hinge gets its own dedicated shockproof cover, separate from the main shell, so the folding mechanism isn't just an afterthought bolted onto a bumper. TORRAS backs it with X-Shock 3-layer cushioning at the corners, and the case ships with 2 precision-fit screen protectors already sized for the Fold 8 Ultra's cover display, which sidesteps the lip conflict problem before it starts. You're not trying to jam an aftermarket glass protector under a case edge that wasn't designed for it. The kickstand is the other selling point here. TORRAS rates the rotating mechanism through 30,000 rotations, and the magnet ring inside delivers 18 newtons of holding force for MagSafe-style chargers and mounts. Here's the catch. TORRAS markets this as 4X military-grade protection, but that's TORRAS's own internal label. There's no specific MIL-STD number attached to it, and no indication it went through third-party certification. That doesn't mean it's fragile, it just means you're trusting the brand's word over a documented standard, which matters if you're the type who wants a number you can verify. The other limitation, it only works with round magnetic accessories. TORRAS is explicit that square or non-magnetic mounts won't grip properly. So if you've already got a car mount or wallet that isn't MagSafe style, it's dead weight on this case. Who it's for? Someone who wants hinge protection and a screen protector handled in one purchase without spending on the higher tiers. It's a fine starting point. It just doesn't have the documentation to back up the toughest claims on this list. Next up is a case where I have to be straight with you before we get into it. Number 6. The TONGATE stylus holder case leans on a feature none of the other cases here offer. A built-in slot that holds a capacitive stylus flush against the hinge cover, so you're not carrying a separate pen or losing it in a bag. On TONGATE's past fold generations, that slot doubles as reinforcement for the hinge itself, essentially turning somewhere to put your pen into an extra structural layer. Here's the catch, and it's an important one. When we went looking for this exact listing tied to the Galaxy Z Fold 8 Ultra, we couldn't independently confirm it on TONGATE's own site, which currently shows dedicated pages for the Z Fold 8, Z Fold 7, and Z Fold 6, but not a separate Ultra line. That doesn't necessarily mean the Amazon listing is wrong. Brands sometimes list new generation SKUs on Amazon before updating their own site. But it does mean you should open the listing yourself and check the compatibility section line by line before you buy, especially the fine print about which S Pen version fits the holder. TONGATE's past cases have specified the stylus works on the inner screen only, not the outer cover display. Who it's for? Fold owners who specifically want a built-in stylus holder and are willing to verify compatibility themselves first. Because of that unresolved compatibility question, it lands low on this list. The feature is genuinely useful, but the uncertainty is a real cost. Number 5. The SUPCASE UB Grip is where the spec sheet actually starts backing up the marketing. SUPCASE drop tested it from 15 feet and certified it to MIL-STD-810H-516.8, a real, named military testing standard, not a vague military-grade label. The case includes 2 swappable screen protector frames, one clear and one privacy, both rated at 95% or higher light transmittance. And because they're built into the case's front frame rather than applied separately, the lip conflict problem simply doesn't exist here. There's no gap between case edge and glass for a corner to lift. The magnet spec is the most concrete number on this list so far. SUPCASE states 1,500 grams of magnetic pull from an embedded N52 ring, which is a specific, sourced figure rather than a marketing. Adjective. Around the camera, SUPCASE built in a 4-corner airbag design meant to absorb impact from the edges most likely to hit the ground first in a drop. The catch is bulk. This is the kind of case where the 4-corner airbag padding and the dual-position kickstand add real thickness. SUPCASE doesn't hide that this is a rugged case, not a slim one. So if you were hoping for something that disappears in a pocket, this isn't it. The kickstand also only supports 2 fixed positions rather than a full rotating range, so if you want to adjust the viewing angle freely, that's a limitation worth knowing going in. Who it's for: buyers who want a documented, third-party reference drop standard, and a screen protector setup that's actually engineered into the case, and who don't mind some added thickness in exchange. Number 4. The BENKS ArmorGrid Air Grand Combo takes a completely different material approach. Genuine licensed Kevlar fiber instead of the usual polycarbonate and TPU combo. And it's genuinely light. BENKS lists the back case and front frame together at 35 grams. That's a real number, not a rounded-up marketing figure, and it shows in how the case feels. The woven texture also does double duty as grip, since Kevlar's surface isn't as slick as smooth plastic even without added texture. BENKS solves the lip conflict issue in a more deliberate way than most. The install instructions specifically tell you to fit the front frame first, then apply the included Glass Warrior HD tempered glass protector on top of it, which keeps the glass sitting flush against the frame instead of racing to beat a raised inner lip. Around the camera, a raised aluminum alloy lens frame, not just molded plastic, takes the brunt of surface contact when the phone is set down. And per BENKS' own site, the magnetic array delivers 10 newtons of holding force, which is a legitimate spec even though it doesn't show up printed on the Amazon listing itself. The honest catch: BENKS states directly that some larger or rectangular magnetic wallets may not seat properly because of how the case is shaped around the camera housing. So if you're planning to run a MagSafe wallet daily, check its shape against BENKS compatibility notes before assuming it'll click on cleanly. Who it's for: someone who wants the case to weigh as little as possible without giving up hinge coverage, and who's fine reading a short install guide instead of just snapping a case on. Number 3. Spigen's Tough Armor Pro MagFit takes the opposite philosophy from the Kevlar pick. This is dual-layer PC and TPU construction built for maximum coverage, with a mechanical hinge guard that physically connects the front and back panels instead of leaving the hinge as a separate flexible strip. Spigen backs the hinge specifically with over 100,000 fold cycle testing, which is a real endurance number tied to the part of a foldable that actually fails first. Raised bezels and what Spigen calls air cushion technology handle the corners, and a feature called sound tunnel technology routes speaker and mic openings through dedicated channels in the shell rather than just punching holes through solid plastic. Structurally, that's designed to preserve audio clarity, though, is the only way to know how much that matters in practice. The catch here is one Spigen actually states themselves, which is rare enough to be worth calling out directly. Because of how the hinge cover is built, some accessories designed for the MagFit magnetic system may not attach properly to this specific case. That's not a hypothetical, it's in Spigen's own product FAQ. If you're buying MagFit accessories separately, cross-check them against this case model before you commit. Who it's for: buyers who want the most structurally reinforced hinge on this list and are willing to double-check magnetic accessory compatibility rather than assume everything in Spigen's own ecosystem works interchangeably. Before we get to the top 2, a quick gut check. If you've read this far because your screen protector already peeled at the corner, the next 2 cases are built around avoiding exactly that. Number 2. The VEGO Anti-Peeping case brings a feature nothing else on this list has: a built-in privacy screen protector that narrows the viewing angle so the person next to you on a flight or train can't read your cover screen. On VEGO's earlier Fold generations, that privacy layer is paired with hinge protection and a rugged kickstand, giving you drop protection and visual privacy in the same purchase, instead of stacking a separate privacy film on top of a separate case. I have to flag the same kind of caveat here as the TONGATE pick. VEGO's privacy protector cases are well documented for the Z Fold 7 and Z Fold 6, but a matching Z Fold 8 Ultra specific listing didn't turn up clearly in our research. Before you link this one, open the listing and confirm the compatibility field explicitly names the Z Fold 8 Ultra, not just Z Fold generically, since privacy protectors in particular depend on exact cutout alignment for the cover screen, camera, and sensors. Who it's for: anyone who regularly works in public and wants privacy built into the case rather than bought as a separate film. Just verify the exact listing yourself first, the same way we're flagging it here. Number 1. The FNTCASE 360 Spin case takes the top spot because it's the only one on this list combining a full rotating magnetic ring kickstand with complete hinge coverage in a single low-profile shell. Most of the rugged options above trade the ring stand flexibility for bulk, and most of the slim options skip the stand entirely. The ring itself rotates a full 360 degrees, working as a finger grip, a hanging hook, and an adjustable stand, depending on how you turn it. And the hinge gets a dedicated cover rather than relying on the main shell to flex over it. Now, the honest catch, and it's worth sitting with before you buy, Fence's own listing contradicts itself slightly on compatibility. Part of the product description says the case is built only for the Galaxy Z Fold 8 Ultra, while another section of the same listing describes it as fitting Z Fold 8 Ultra / Z Fold 7. Those are two different phones with different dimensions, so that inconsistency matters. Confirm the compatibility section directly against your specific Fold 8 Ultra model number before ordering, rather than trusting the headline claim alone. Fence's sibling cases in this same line advertise a 2,400 gram force magnetic pull from 38 embedded N52 magnets, but that figure isn't clearly printed on this particular kickstand version's listing, so treat it as a brand line reference point rather than a confirmed spec for this exact case. Who it's for: someone who wants one case that handles hinge protection, a genuinely rotating kickstand, and magnetic mounting without stacking accessories. Just read the compatibility section on the listing carefully first, since it's the one thing standing between this case and an easy return. Quick recap by what you actually need. If you're chasing a documented drop standard, the SUPCASE UB Grip is the one with the named MIL-STD number and the measured magnet spec. If weight is your priority, the BENKS Kevlar combo is the lightest case here that still covers the hinge. If you want maximum structural reinforcement and don't mind checking accessory compatibility yourself, Spigen's Tough Armor Pro MagFit has the strongest hinge cycle testing on this list. And if a rotating kickstand matters more than anything else, the Fence's pick takes the top spot. Just confirm your exact model against the listing before you check out. Links to every case are down in the description, in the same order we counted them down. If this saved you from installing the wrong case on a $2,000 phone, subscribe for the next one.